broadcast network, AfterBuzz TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your number one source for after-show entertainment. AfterBuzz TV, the destination for TV superfans. Producing after shows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows, interviewing celebrities and showrunners, and bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
We usually sing. Where they might end up. Come on, sing. Nobody knows.
There we go.
There we go. We'll take it. We'll take it.
Okay.
So, welcome to the epic season 12 of Grey's Anatomy. How many shows do you guys know with 12 seasons?
Oh my gosh.
I'm Julie Partin.
Oh, I'm Tara Johnson.
Hi everyone, I'm Marisa Serafini.
And hello, I'm Jay Howard.
And we have a special guest in the building tonight.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hello, I'm Jenny Cooper.
And if you are seeing her and shuddering, please don't. She's actually quite nice in person.
Surprisingly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, don't believe everything you say.
So yeah, this is season 12, episode 1, Sledgehammer. And we did start out with a sledgehammer.
Yes,
Yeah,
we did.
and ended with a sledgehammer.
Yes, we did.
Definitely.
There you go.
I liked how it book ended all that.
Yeah, it was pretty good. And so for those of you guys who have been following our after show for a while, the panel looks different. Star and Jason are still around. And we'd love to carry on the conversation with them on Twitter, maybe in the studio one day. But welcome to the new hosts who are, like you, super fans, and are, like you, here to play and ready to talk about it tonight.
We're ready to
There you
roll.
go.
Ready to roll.
So how was your guys' hiatus? How did you do it?
Oh, and you know, it was kind of tough because, you know, Thursdays is when I watch all my shows, and I believe the last month and a half, ABC kept putting those promos out, Scandal and How to Get Away with Murder, and all the Shonda Rhimes shows, and they're like that Thursday,
Yeah.
you know, gearing up for it. So it was difficult.
Yeah,
but we made it.
It is just a big gaping void in my week. Anytime the Grey's isn't on and all the shows aren't on.
You just need more drama, just in general. Like just in every. You just need to like walk into a hospital and hope that something dramatic happens. I mean, or what?
Yeah.
And honestly, I was a little bit hesitant to come back this season. What
Why
is
is
it
that?
going to be like with Derek not here?
You know what? I'm so glad you said that because no one else said the D word. I was like, can we not say it? No one even mentioned his name. Thank you very
oh my
much.
gosh, you are right.
Through the entire episode.
Yeah,
The entire episode.
That's
No one
true.
said his
Oh
name.
my gosh.
I think they're trying to make sort of a new show. Like, it's almost like it's a
Yeah.
spin-off, but it's the same people except him.
You know what?
She's in a
That's
whole
great
new
point.
pocket of life.
Well, and I was reading beforehand, like what to expect in season 12, and that's one of the big points that I read was it's like they're trying to make it a little bit lighter, is what I read, and then they're trying to, I guess, take Meredith on a journey without Derek, which is
Right.
going to be
Right.
interesting to see where that goes. Since
Yeah.
their journey has been one of the basis. The basic storylines of the entire show.
Right. But also, if you think about where the show started, it was 10 years ago. I mean, how much has everyone changed in the last 10 years? She's not the character she was then when she was a new little intern looking for love. Now she's like a survivor and a mom, and
those
she doesn't
of us
need a
watching,
man.
Yeah,
you
we're
know?
not the same either.
Yeah, exactly.
That's kind of what the show
Exactly.
is about,
Yeah.
becoming the person who you are now, and you don't have to stay the same weakling you always were.
Right.
But I do still want to see hot men. So, like, just
Right.
for me, I kind of need, you know, I think we saw a hottie in like minute 42 or something,
Oh,
you know,
you're
something
right.
toward the end.
I don't have a lot of commentary on that. I'll just sip my water.
Man, you're right. So last season, when all that went down, I just kept thinking to myself, how is it going to go on? How is it going to go on? And then, shockingly, I actually didn't miss him this episode.
Oh.
I actually didn't think about him until
Interesting.
right now. They just have a way of doing that, don't
Yeah.
they?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we start out with the drama with the sisters, Amelia, Maggie, and Mara living together.
Yeah, that feels very season 1 almost over
Right.
again. I know that's what
Okay,
they're kind
right.
of doing, like rebirthing the show, but
Yeah.
I could almost see where it's Meredith, Maggie, and Amelia. It could almost be like Meredith and all the characters from like the first season all over again. And it was the characters from the first season.
Yeah.
So it's like we're like literally starting all over
Like
again.
Izzy and George. And
everybody.
Right,
It's a very unlikely match with all three of them because I feel they're so individually they're all strong women, and to put three alpha females together, I feel there would be a lot of headbutting. But I think it'll be interesting to see how long they'll all stay together.
And that's probably going to be the point, right? I mean, they're all three very strong characters, and so you put them in close quarters and see what happens, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I want to see Maggie punch more because like Amelia
She'd be Tyson.
and Meredith are like going at it, and she's like trying to be the peacemaker. That's not going to last very long. She's going to come out and like take her stand. She tried toward the end, but she's Mike Tyson now, so she can kill it.
It is funny, and not to give away spoilers because this wasn't really anyhow. Meredith's like, I don't really like you, and I feel the same way about Amelia.
So do I. From private practice. There we go. I put it out there.
I really do.
Why?
She's been through a lot with her character. She's overcome a lot of hardships and whatnot, and she's always been in the shadows of her brother. And unfortunately, Derek's not here anymore. So I feel this is the perfect time for her to really just become her own character on the show.
Yeah. Well, let's jump into the patient story because it went throughout the whole episode. And what was kind of crazy is that it was the only one. Did you guys realize that?
Yeah.
Yeah, one patient arc. And it was right away 2 girls hit by a bin. They were just kids.
Right. Like that makes it so much worse. I mean, yeah, absolutely.
My first thought was 2 girls? Come on. How could one not get out of the way after the first one was hit?
Right.
Well, I think Jess sort of gets out of the way.
Oh.
Right. More than the other one. Right.
Yeah,
She
so
can
that doesn't make sense, actually.
Right?
Did she, like, chicken out at the very last second? Or she's not good at getting
sensed
hit by
that she
trains?
sort of got pushed off by the other one who kind of took the brunt of it, which I don't know that you lived through that, but you lived through that.
Or
So-
at least she's chickened out a little bit more than the other character. Like, train.
Maybe.
Train.
Love ya.
Right.
Well, when they mentioned the line "kids," I had it in my mind that these
They were small kids. Oh my
toddlers,
God.
those type of kids. And I grew
Right.
up near a train track, a quarter mile down from my house, so like I know how dangerous train tracks can be.
Sure.
So I was like expecting the worst out of the
Right.
story.
But you're
Right.
still here against all odds.
Yeah, but especially in the premiere of Grey's, we know they can get like super serious
Right.
and all their traumatic events that happen. So I wasn't really prepared for that.
I am still surprised it was the only thing. I mean, 2 girls, one split in half by a train, that's something. But that was the only patient story. It was enough to keep us distracted, though.
Because it tied into another storyline. It was the storyline of the. Am I allowed to say? Or
Go
not
for
really
it,
say?
girl, yeah.
Okay, so it's the storyline of the relationship between the 2 of them, but it ties into the bully story too.
Yes,
So it kind
yes.
of goes back into the main story. I think that's how they kind of.
So we see these 2 girls. One of them's pretending she doesn't know the other. The other one's pretty much unconscious. But Callie notices that they both have dual hearts drawn on themselves. And Callie's like, something's up. They absolutely do know each other.
Of course.
And so, just my opinion, when they started this subject, it seemed a little archaic to me. Like,
How so?
Are we still is really that kind of relationship so odd?
Right.
That's because we live in Los Angeles.
You're probably right.
That's because we live in Los Angeles. I mean, I know because I spoke with them a lot about this storyline, and it was something they had been developing for a long time. And I think they took it as an opportunity to kind of start a discussion maybe in homes where they can't talk about this and, show a situation where it was really awful. And then, at least the dad comes around in the end. And are there people watching in their own homes that maybe they look differently on a situation? Maybe they communicate better with their kids after watching it.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I would actually agree with that. I mean, I was born and raised in Dallas, Texas. So I mean, in the South for sure. And I would say it's very different than LA for sure. It's the thought process on those issues and how people approach those issues very different.
I mean, believe me, I'm a Southern Baptist pastor's daughter from Bixby, Oklahoma. It's not like this is normal where I'm from. Just maybe in the scope of the show.
Yeah.
I kind of felt we've literally had 2 teens who were changing genders who were dating each other.
Right.
That's the point I thought we had
Gotcha.
come to. This seemed like something simple.
Gotcha.
But also, I mean, granted, we know a lot of stories about homosexuality and all that, but I feel like the storyline in the episode was more about the adult's perspective on a younger relationship rather than from the kids, and that's why I liked this storyline.
I felt as if they kind of I wasn't sure what story. I know they really like played with the bullying aspect. I think they kind of skirted around the homosexuality because they really like, they just said they think they're in love and they're friends, but then it went to the bullying. So I was like, either hit it on and like really make it an issue and talk about it, or kind of leave it alone.
I think they were implying that the girl's mom was bullying her. And that was the bully she was up against. Yeah, so it came out, one of these girls is an immigrant, and her mother has passed away. The other girl, her parents were about to send her off to Jesus camp. And that was the character played by Jenny. So real quick, tell us about whenever you got these sides. Did you know this woman was going to be this way?
I didn't know she was going to be this way till I saw it just now. I mean,
what? Really?
Yeah, well, I mean, obviously I know
punched?
the words that I had to say, but I felt in certain ways that my character is being bullied by the doctors. I mean, to be in a hospital and have doctors take time away from taking care of your child to tell you what you may or may not do in your personal life, I did feel like, could you imagine being in that situation and your child's on the hospital bed and all you want them to do is fix your kid? Just fix my kid. Don't tell me what to do. So I think it was that I related to, and the crazy politics and her insane point of view was almost, I wasn't even thinking about that. It was just like, go fix my kid, you know?
Wow.
And so, but then obviously I know the words I have to say and they're so awful. And so then you look at it and it's pretty harsh.
Well, geez, whenever you put it that way, I feel so bad for the mom now, too. Just fix the kid. Lay off her.
Right? I mean, enough.
And we were talking beforehand, and you said you have two twins and then another...
have small children, yes.
Yeah, so how does that affect you playing that character with the small kids you have?
It affects me a lot. That's sort of what I mean. I definitely wanted to give her a little bit of a heart, and I think the scenes happen so fast that it doesn't register. But it certainly came from a place of like utter panic. And I think that is when people lose it too. And when they say all sorts of horrible things that they don't mean to say is because they don't know what else to do and they can't fix it.
Yeah.
You know?
You know what? Whenever they were saying, "Oh, I heard you punched a homophobe."
Yeah.
Okay, you punched a mother too.
Right.
Like a grieving mother.
Right.
And not to all rally together around this woman. I'm just seeing your point as an actress.
Yeah. No, well, and also the punching scene where I come in and they're all huddled around the nursing station talking about me, and you're seeing that from down the hall, like it felt like junior high school. I was like, don't go rat on me, and then chitter, like it just didn't feel, so it felt personal on my side too, even though it's a very unsympathetic character, and I totally get that. When
you were auditioning, did you know that this was the mother that was going to send her daughter off to camp?
Yeah, I totally knew, and I, and I do think in her own way, she's coming from a place of love for her child. And most people are, even people who you completely disagree with, everything that they're saying and every choice that they make, most people think they're doing what's best for their family.
Right.
You know, and so I did as much as I could. That was how I justified it.
Well, I will say from the second I saw her and then seeing you in person, I'm like, she's definitely not old enough to be her mother. Kids are like 1 and 3.
Thank you. That's kind.
Her having a teenager is kind of inconceivable.
I could biologically have a teenager. Thank you.
I'm glad I met you before we watched the episode. I even said we were watching.
You would have walked in here.
Yeah.
I'd be like, I don't want to talk to you.
I was like, I'm not sure about this.
I get it.
One.
Be like, you know what? Your interview, we don't really have time for you. Sorry. Okay.
So what's funny about this plot to me is that I have a good friend from college who made a documentary called Kidnapped for Christ about this very subject.
Wow.
It was about how the family's parents would kidnap the kids in the middle of the night and then take them to the Dominican Republic to a camp to change them.
To the DR?
Really? Yeah.
It's a very specific place.
Yeah. Well, I think that was it.
that?
They're like, that was literally, you can run, but then you're in the DR, you know?
Oh, wow.
It was really intense.
I'm going to have to watch that movie.
Yeah, I'm going to totally have to watch that documentary.
According to the mom, this was a beautiful
Wait, and
camp.
so what did they do there?
They tried to change them from being gay.
Oh, from being gay.
Yeah,
so
exactly like what they were describing here.
And what were the
Good Lord.
techniques? That's what I was wondering when they said, take it away to a camp, and you're like,
yes,
okay, so what do you actually do?
To make them ungay. I mean,
I don't know across the nation what
Mm-hmm.
all the techniques were like, but the specific one in the documentary was kind of brutal. It was like
really?
shock therapy and things.
Oh, wow.
Oh, my gosh,
I think
really?
that's another reason it was in the DR.
Yeah, you could say that.
Wow.
I was waiting
Save that
for
another day.
like Callie to almost say that she went to one or something because her reaction and her description was so strong and,
Yeah.
against the mom that I was waiting for her to reveal something about herself because it just seemed like to touch a particular place with her. I mean, she's a great actress, so it is what it is. That's how she related. But I thought she was going to just tell a little bit more about herself growing up. Maybe there was something there we didn't know before.
Well, I think personally it's a big issue for her.
Totally.
You know, not because she is in her own life, but she's a big advocate for,
Right. So whenever they were talking about being bullied, Callie's like, well, you punch one. But I always thought Callie was more of a bully.
Totally.
Yeah.
Her character doesn't seem like somebody who would ever, even as a child, let themselves be run over.
Well, and also we've had the backstory with Callie. She always had a very strict father and a parental figure, so she always was against authority in that way too. So I feel like her character, she always had to stand up for herself. So that really wasn't surprised when she revealed that little backstory of her today.
Also, her parents were against her like those girls.
Yes.
Her parents were what?
Against her.
Oh, right.
Yeah, they had a problem with her sexuality choices as well.
Right.
And that's probably why you see her character flip so quickly from normal to enraged and saying crazy things to a random person, right?
Right.
And then Maggie, who we all knew was going to be bullied.
Right.
It was kind of funny.
Right.
We're like, they call me the little maggot. And I'm like, nailed it.
Right.
Yeah.
And then it gets sadder and sadder.
Totally.
And then the cops found me the next morning. You're like, ooh, that is sad.
Right. But I feel like everyone on the show except Maggie is a bully in some shape, form, or fashion. Bailey's a bully. Like, Bailey will stand up. I mean, we've seen Richard stand up. Meredith, stop joking. Like, any given time, she'll go in on anybody. So I believe that anyone on the show is a bully. But Maggie, except for the punch, like kind of the first time she kind of stood up and showed any kind
and
of
even that
real,
was just kind of like a random
reaction type of thing.
Yeah.
Well, I think part of the journey on this show is that only the strong survive. Weak interns aren't going to make it. And so they all do kind of have to come into their own. Like, even April used to be extremely weak. Remember when she was meek?
Right.
And irritating
And now she's going off to
mouthy?
war, like
Seriously.
leaving everything she knows behind.
Chasing Derek
Storming
around.
in, throwing
Right.
her bags down.
Completely different person.
And walking out the door when her husband was like rejecting her, saying, let's talk tomorrow. He was like, good night. Normally she would like cried and, broken down. It would have been like a whole 5-minute monologue. And she was like, done, peace, I'm out.
I am tired. I have been traveling all day.
Right.
That was
right.
cool.
I'm tired.
And I was like, just really quickly on Avery and April, it's really sad how their relationship started out this season compared to the last season when they just ran away from their wedding, like, and they were all happy in spirits, and it's just quick 180 turn,
It is, that's heartbreaking to me, especially because I was a huge advocate of those two characters being together for a long time, and a lot of people weren't.
I was not.
See, I was
Why were you
completely,
not?
I was completely alone on this panel for years.
Oh, really?
For years fighting for those two, calling them end game, and no one was with me.
And now it might not
I'm
even
still
end up.
endgame with
Right? Now you're back to square one, maybe. I mean,
Yeah, that was, I don't know. It was just maybe because of the way April came on the show and her personality, I just never saw her with Jackson Avery, who, okay, I will mention all the hotties. He is one. Let's just make it
Yeah, how
known.
could you say we didn't get hotties
Right.
on 42 minutes
Right,
when
that's
Jackson's
true.
in the
That's
show?
true. So yeah, okay, I'm sorry. Yeah, you're right. We had Holly through like second one. He's so hot. But I just never saw them together long term. When they were like screwing and scrumping around and that kind of thing, that's what I call sex, scrumping. So when they were like scrumping and that kind of thing, I saw that temporarily, but never long term. Never, just didn't see them fitting. I don't know.
I think over the seasons, how they treated each other and how they just grew to respect each other, I was like, yes, this is a relationship I can root for.
So we obviously covered that she went off again, went on another tour, and that's obviously something it seems like won't be able to be repaired in their marriage.
Well,
And
didn't he give her an ultimatum before she left?
Yes.
Yeah.
Something like
but
that.
And I'm
they
on
didn't
his
clear that
side.
up, though. Did they? At the end of last season, they didn't clear it up whether or not. I
They
mean, I guess
didn't.
she went away, so
I think
there's.
he
I mean,
said, if you go, I'm not going to be here for you when you get back.
Exactly.
You can go, I
Yeah.
support you,
Right.
Right.
but that's
Okay.
it.
He gave
I
the
think,
ultimatum,
right?
but we didn't actually see if she had gone yet or not until right now.
Right,
Right.
yes, right.
But I think we all thought she was going to go.
Yeah.
Totally.
Either that or stay here and resent him, and we've seen that
Yeah.
story enough
Yeah.
times,
Yeah.
you know? So everybody's like asking about her coming back, and he's just grumpy.
Right.
He's just pissed at all of them. I'm not giving out tickets to my love life,
Right.
people.
right.
Jackson just seems so checked out. Like,
Yeah.
he
Very
just
much
did
so.
not care anymore.
Everyone's like,
Sad.
when's the thing? Aren't we doing the thing? Don't we do the thing? Where's the thing?
Doesn't
And he was
care.
like, I'm not doing anything.
Well, they say if something's wrong at home, then something wrong everywhere else. Like that's the first relationship in your house, what's going on with your family. If that's affected, then your job's going to be affected in your friendships and everything in life.
Well, let's also think about the fact that Catherine and Richard are now married. So his mom is in the hallways of his workplace every day now, which has to be added stress to him also.
Poor guy doesn't see his wife, but he sees his mom.
Right, every day. Married and happy, right? When his marriage is like on the rocks.
I think that's a good segue for us to talk about how she had her chief candidate and he had his chief candidate. Bailey's walking around in her little blue business suit, rocking it, but imposting it. Like, we knew she didn't fit in that role in that way. She seemed awkward.
Did you come up with that phrase yourself? Don't lie. Rocking it but imposting it?
I did right now, and I love it.
I'm proud of you. That's impressive.
Rocking it but imposting it.
Okay, you might hear me say that.
So yeah, the candidate came in, and it was Tracy McConnell, played by Joey Lauren Adams, and it takes a while for me to get past her voice.
Yeah.
It does, yeah. Every time we see her, every time we see her portray something.
And she's, did you get to act in any scenes with her?
I did not. No. We had trailers next to each other, but we never had scenes.
I know, it's so funny. We hear that from everybody who's been on the show, come in here like, didn't actually see them.
Right? No, sorry. Never met Jessica Capshaw.
Right.
Just the people in my scene.
Yeah.
But this character, you know, as good as can be, dream candidate on every level. She had her charity, she had her this and her that, and Bailey was intimidated.
And I feel like we've all had that situation, right? Where you're like up against somebody, you think you're good to go, and then your competitor comes in and they're like the Michael Jordan of chiefs of surgeries, I guess. I don't know. And it just, everything they do makes you feel inferior, right?
Yeah.
It makes you lash out.
Well, I think it's really interesting what she brought out of Bailey.
Yeah.
Because we know Bailey, very strong woman. She doesn't really take crap from anybody. But the fact that it even made Bailey question herself and just, you know, like where she stands in the hospital. It's like, all right, apparently, you know, this candidate's doing something.
Well, that's what really bugs me, and I'm kind of going through this situation at work. Somebody new comes in, and they're like, ooh, la, look at your tricks. Yeah, but Bailey's like, I've been here 12 years doing tricks for you people. How about you add all those together?
Is that going to happen on this panel? That's what I'm worried about. I mean, like,
Right.
I don't want to make assumptions, but I think it's going pretty well.
Just don't be too shiny.
You know? You're going to have to set your game, and we'll see. We'll see about that.
I love seeing that part of Bailey and Ben when he was like coaching her and rooting her on, because there's so many times where in the beginning of the episode where he came in and she was like, you can escort Dr. Ben Warren out of my OR, and he just finally took the stand and was like, everyone listens to Bailey and everyone's intimidated by Bailey, but the one person who she will listen to is her husband. And I loved that interaction between the two because he was coaching her on, and by the end she was first chair. I mean, it was amazing.
Yeah. And I just had this moment the other night with my husband, and he was like telling me all of these things, and I'm like, oh, but darling, what if you fly? You know that saying? But what if I fall? Oh, but what if you fly?
Yeah.
He's like, thanks. But so Bailey backed out, decided to do surgery. Like you said, Ben talked her into it. And after this brilliant speech by the perky blonde, Bailey does her speech while giving surgery. Boom.
Yeah.
Right.
So Bailey.
Yes.
Right.
I love
great.
that. You know,
It was
Bailey
great.
in her element, just doing what she does, that is where she belongs.
At the end of the day, she's showing in that moment that, like, hey, doing this surgery, doing what I love and doing what I'm passionate about is more important than the title that I have.
Yeah.
That's what she's showing in that moment.
And that's where the 12 years is so powerful, too, because you suddenly... That's how long we've known her, you know?
And you
so
have her
sit
back
there and
in
you're
that
like,
moment.
You're the one. You're the one
Right.
that's been here all the time. Go away, shiny new person. You know?
And Bailey did. Bailey got chief.
Yeah.
And that was fantastic. That's what I wanted from the beginning. And then Ben said his Lion King speech. As far as
That was a great line.
yeah, that was
Great
hilarious.
line.
Amazing.
That was awesome.
I don't know. I kind of wanted Bailey not to get chief.
I didn't.
No,
Not
really?
because-
I
I mean, yeah.
Didn't she spend all last season not getting chief, too?
Yeah, she
right?
did.
Yeah.
Only because like this is the rebirth of the show, and that's kind of the formula that I get from Grey's Anatomy. Like the show goes, Bailey does her speech, and then Bailey kind of convinces everyone or kind of gets in. So I was like, oh, if I know Bailey wants this so much, and I'm not saying she's not deserving of it, but if she doesn't get this, oh, this will be yet another turn for this kind of new season 12 rebirth. I would have liked
That's
to have seen
what
that.
It's a woman. It's Bailey. I like it.
I think it's stabilizing.
Yeah.
You know, there's enough new.
And she's been around for a while, so it makes sense. Yeah, within the arc of the show, it makes sense for sure.
And
Right.
I think over all these seasons, we've seen so many different chief staffs going through, and going through the circle. It went through Hunt. It went
We
through
still
Weber.
call Weber chief.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it went
Yeah.
back to
Yeah.
Weber. It was like it's Bailey's time to be chief.
So speaking of such an epically long show, have you auditioned for this a bunch of times?
No, for Grey's Anatomy?
Yeah.
No, I have never auditioned for Grey's Anatomy before
You are
this.
kidding
Never.
me. We've heard from guests that have been on the show before that
like
have
12
done
million
it.
times?
Yes.
Oh.
So I knew the casting directors. I did an episode of Scandal years ago, and I auditioned for Private Practice, I think, a couple times.
Okay.
But also years ago, this is my very first time auditioning for Grey's Anatomy, and I got it. And when I looked at the sides, I was like, yeah, I'm going to get this.
So, in the past, we've heard that it's been like audition, find out, film really quickly. Was it like
Yes.
that for you?
Not only was it that, but as you mentioned, I have small children, and so childcare issues and like all of that. And it was like 4:30 the night before that I found out I was filming the next day, the big scene with Callie when she comes down the stairs and all the dialogue. And so, yeah, it's a lot of, I mean, I already had the part at that point, but I thought, well, if they haven't told me yet, I'm not filming tomorrow.
Right.
And all of a sudden say, nope, you're filming tomorrow.
So what was it
So-
like on set?
It was great. It's their first episode back. They're so excited to be back. I have to say, I've worked on lots of sets, and sometimes it's welcoming and sometimes it isn't. These are people who love each other. These are people who are family. And everybody that comes in is like extended family. And they just want you to feel comfortable. And I think they know that you might be a little intimidated because it's like Grey's. But they were just incredibly loving. And this story was really important to them to tell and to tell it right. And so they just spent a lot of time with us, helping us feel comfortable and talking about it from all sorts of angles. And that's the other reason why I didn't totally feel like the bad guy, because I just felt like I was a part of the story that was important to tell,
I will say something admirable about your acting work and that character. It was you against the hospital and the other families and the kids. It was literally everyone in this episode versus that mother.
And your character held your own. Like, you really did make a statement against all of these other strong characters. So very impressive.
Thank you.
Out of everybody you met during production, who was the coolest person you met?
Honestly, that's a really tough one to answer because I met Kelly first, Kelly McCreary, who plays Maggie.
We've had her on the show.
Oh, you
She's
have?
so stunning, isn't she?
She's stunning and the kindest human on the planet,
and
maybe.
really smart. I think she went to Ivy League
Super
school.
smart.
She
Yeah.
seems like it.
Yes, so she's extremely smart, well-read, generous, loving, great. And then Sara Ramirez is also amazing. Pulled us into her trailer to watch a video of a child coming out and how awful it was for him and his family.
Geez.
I mean, she is extremely passionate about this issue. And then Kevin McKidd directed the episode, who plays Owen, and he was ridiculously supportive. I mean, I honestly didn't have a bad moment on the set, so it was kind of sad to say goodbye.
So when he directs, which accent does he use?
Yeah, I think he uses his regular accent, his Scottish accent, and then he flips into
That's
American.
crazy.
Yeah.
It is
Okay.
insane.
He's like, cut, and then
Yeah.
goes in there. And
What was that? Wait,
Yeah.
what was that? What was that? Was
Yes.
That was my
I
attempt
think
at
Okay,
Scottish
yeah.
cut.
Okay.
Like I couldn't get there.
You're right.
Yeah.
You tried.
Very impressive to see him do that.
Did
by
you
the
get a
way.
chance to work directly with Debbie Allen? Because I know she's the creative
Yeah, well, she was
producer
there,
this
so
season?
she's the
Okay.
creative. She's the showrunner now. She's like
Oh,
the
wow.
Shonda on the show because Shonda can't be on 5 shows at once. So, and she's a presence, first of all. Like, she just walks into a room, you kind of turn around and like feel her walk in. She's just amazing and just also very supportive and excited to be there. Everyone really feels like they're telling a brand new story about this woman, this survivor who, has 2 kids and kind of doesn't need a man anymore. And there are a lot of people in the world like that, that like they live the perfect life and then something awful happens and they have to continue living. They have to go on. And I think that's the story they're telling now.
Nobody on the show's had a perfect life, though.
No.
She had a bad life from the
That's
get-go.
true. But she had the family life.
That's true,
And
yeah.
that, so I think they're excited to tell that story, like, for everybody that's
Definitely.
facing similar things.
So
Yeah.
what was the punch like?
Oh, gosh. Well, the punch isn't really a punch, right? Because you just kind of go, whoa, it's fine. Yeah.
It's funny to imagine 2 women
Right,
in that
punching
scene.
each other.
Men in war,
Yeah.
know.
Did they
just
coach
do
her
it.
on the punch as far as like?
Yeah. So there's a person on set, a stunt coordinator, and they show her where to punch.
Okay.
And then I just kind of go with it.
And did they show her how to punch to not look like ridiculous? Like, okay,
yeah,
this is how
but
you
you
look
know,
legit.
you'd be surprised how far apart you can be that if the camera's in the right place,
Okay.
it's really the angle. And she can be this far away from my face and was. You
Glad
know,
to hear
and it's
there's
just-
no mistakes.
There's no mistakes. Certainly not girl to girl. Like, I'm guessing maybe like slapping a guy every once in a while. Maybe there's a real slap that happens, but definitely not. You know.
Okay.
Were you
I mean,
surprised there was a punch in the script, knowing your character and whatnot? Because when we were watching it, I want to say
Didn't
we
see
were
it
mostly
coming.
surprised.
Yeah. Oh,
We didn't see that
okay.
coming.
Whoa.
Didn't see
You
it
did
coming.
not see it coming.
No.
Oh, I think probably everyone wanted it to happen. So you know, so it's very
Nobody
right. It's
did.
very
Maggie.
cathartic for the audience.
Jeez, yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, I knew it was there because it was in the script, so it wasn't so surprising. But
Right.
it was supposed to be like bloody nosed and everything. They took all that out, so it was just kind of.
Nice.
Now you were saying your character before the show, your character had a more redeeming moment, but that got cut out. Can you talk a little bit more about that?
Yeah, I mean, you know, just editors make decisions, and the director and whomever else is watching it to, you know, that they want the characters to look a certain way. So I think, there was a little bit of a redeeming moment for my character that you see her coming around, and sort of like teary-eyed moments. And I guess that they just thought it was inconsistent with the rest of the character, and that it was maybe unrealistic for her to come around in that way.
Okay.
But I don't know. You'd have to ask them.
Well, just reading from your IMDb, you've been on every show. You can find me in, like, literally all of my favorite shows for years.
Oh, yeah.
But what I would love is if you stayed in the Shonda family.
Oh, I would love it too.
That would be
Where should I
so
go?
exciting.
Who wouldn't? Yeah,
I know.
for sure.
Yeah.
Murder.
Yeah, once somebody gets in that family, it could be good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would love it.
So we don't have too much time yet left, but there's a couple things we should touch on before the end. Karev used to be a fat guy.
Who
Did we
knew?
know that?
I thought
that
he was
gonna
going
end
to
up
say
being a
just
joke.
kidding. I thought it was going to
I
be a
thought
joke.
it was going to be a joke.
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
waiting on it, waiting on
Gonna
it.
steal
Yeah.
Maggie's line
Right.
to
Yeah.
get laid.
That's what I thought too.
That does sound like a correct
I'm
thing.
still not convinced. I don't think it's. I think he was messing with her.
Do you?
Yeah.
Why wouldn't we have heard that before?
I don't know. It just didn't seem legit to me. I was positive he was going to come out and just say like, yeah, I was just
kidding.
screwing with you.
It
Right.
was funny how she's like, no dinner, let's kiss.
He would have used that to get laid. Yeah,
I
definitely.
thought. I had a cousin with this exact same story, and it was life-changing for him.
Yeah, well, I'm going to go home and tell my wife, like, before you knew me, I used to be 400 pounds.
Right?
And I just imagine her, like,
And I got stuck in
Right.
the locker.
That was hard. Oh my god.
we went to high school
But
together.
also, Karev just seems like the guy that was always the cute guy, right? Doesn't he have that sort
To
of
me,
swagger?
have
to me,
that.
he seems more like the guy in school who you'd be like, he's a cute guy, but he's scary.
Right. Maybe.
But like, I don't know if I'd want to meet his family. And then this isn't super important, but Arizona needed a roommate. Nobody wanted to be with her because apparently she's legend. I am legend with my fake leg.
Uh-huh.
fake
even-
leg.
I don't think legend is the best term. More notorious.
Yeah,
Right.
better.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I thought I was like, that is kind of weird. I mean, everyone at a hospital has experienced, like, every character has at least 10 stories like that. So it's just
Right.
not her.
Yeah.
Right.
But
I have a problem with
Every time we see her on the show, she's usually with someone else. She has a life partner in some way.
not wanting to be
in
alone is a
relationship.
reason to get a
So,
roommate.
Maybe she has codependency issues.
That would be, I would believe it. But for her to financially need a roommate was silly.
Right.
But if it's an excuse to bring that hot dude,
I
whatever,
know.
I'll take it.
Dr.
It's definitely
DeLuca.
levity within the show.
Yeah, Dr. DeLuca, we could have used his face about 40 minutes earlier.
Thank you very much.
Glad
Yep.
he's in the cast, though.
But I liked how they created the name for the surviving people, the Seattle Grace 5.
So who are the Seattle Grace 5?
Yeah, Meredith.
Is that right?
Well, does
I
Derek,
heard that.
does Derek count?
survived.
Or
Yeah.
does he...
No, Derek's gone.
Derek's
Derek's
gone.
gone.
Are they
Meredith.
counting him in there?
Probably not, no.
Meredith, Alex,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
Bailey,
Meredith, Alex,
Weber.
Bailey, Weber.
Weber.
Callie.
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 No, Callie
No,
was
Callie
not
was
original.
Callie because she
Callie
wasn't
was
there
not
from the
original.
Oh, yeah.
jump.
But
I don't
neither
think
was
they
Arizona.
Yeah, Arizona not original either.
We'll have to get
Yeah.
you guys at home.
Yeah.
Tweet us.
Let us know who you think
We're
the 5
missing
are,
one.
and by next week we'll go through the list
we'll
and
be ready to
determine
roll.
who thinks
Yes.
the
I
5
think
are.
that's a good idea.
So let us know in the comments on our YouTube as well as the conversation on Twitter. We keep up with it all week. It's the only way we survive. But yeah, I think that's about it for this episode. And I would say as a season premiere, It was safe. It was safe for me.
Yeah.
Yes.
Wasn't bad. Good acting by yourself and the rest of the cast.
Yes.
But for by and large, it was safe from beginning to end for me.
With the surprise. The punch was the surprise.
The punch was the one thing that was like, whoa.
Yeah.
I think what Grace does so well is they, after all the
Moving forward, kind of what you said, it's that it was kind of safe. It's if you kind of think through the episode, I don't know if they set themselves up for a ton of storylines moving forward. You know,
I did read a few spoilers, and they already happened.
Yes.
Except new loves for Callie.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Right.
And
it's-
wait, you said that like you
no,
know.
I knew. I mean, I can't say.
You can
say.
We're friends now.
Oh, I signed a confidentiality agreement. I can't say.
Let me guess. It's your character.
Oh,
You got it.
yes.
That's a redeeming moment.
Right.
So I've been thinking. Well, that would be crazy. So I look forward to seeing this season, what they're going to do. I mean, so far they've proven they can pull off at least one episode without me thinking a single time about Derek.
That is true.
I was more focused on how cute all their little long bobs look. Their lobs look fantastic.
That's in, isn't it? Yeah.
I got a lob last season because they all look so good.
And yours looks
Great.
great too. Just saying. Yes.
Yeah, so until next week, do you guys have any predictions for this season?
I'm gonna say Derek's gonna come back from the dead. I'm gonna say it.
Get out. Wrong.
I don't know. I think Callie's love interest, she might dabble in the testosterone pool again.
I'd like that
just
at this point in
one
time.
time. Just one time.
Oh, I want to be the person that still roots for April and Jackson.
Oh, look at you.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel this season they started off with a really rough patch, but I want to say maybe at the end of the season they'll get back together because I think they're in end game. There, I said it.
And so I think actually that's where a lot of the drama is going to come in. Is I think that they're not going to be together, and it's gonna get ugly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would completely agree. And I would say this season we're going to see a lot of storylines with the makeshift sisters. Like we ended it with this season. I feel like they're really, the show is liking the way that those three are together, and I'm coming around to it. I mean, I feel like neither of them are a full replacement for Christina, but I'm liking Maggie. Amelia, maybe never. But that's how sisters are, you know?
Yeah. It's like a medical Charlie's Angels almost. It's the vibe I'm getting, you know? That's how I'm feeling about it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I would love for you guys to keep up with me on Twitter. My name is Julie Partin, JuliePartin.
Oh, you can keep up with me. My name's Tara Johnson. I'm on Twitter at TJ Wagging Her Tail, but I also ask you to check out my women's talk show at wordswinewomen.com.
And you can follow me on Twitter at Serafini TV.
And you can find me on Twitter at JJAY lives and then the number 1.
And then Jenny, where can we find you?
You can find me also at Twitter at Jenny Cooper 1111.
It was wonderful having you on.
It
the
was.
show.
Having me. It was so much fun,
We
you guys.
like you.
Thank you so much.
And
Now we
you guys,
do.
welcome to the panel. You guys, we will see you next week.
Bye.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
Buzz.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.